Ta-da! No! Okay. Wow. It looks really blue. I don't know why. It looks really blue. So, okay. Can you hear me? Is it working? Good. I see it moving. It looks. We're gonna pull it closer, just in case. Okay. Welcome to Weird and Woo Woo. I'm weird, and we get a little woo woo. I don't know why there's such a blue hue today. YouTube got issues. It be making it look a different color every time I turn around. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All right, it's a coffee and tarot. Yes, my coffee's here. Okay. Um, the rules of coffee and tarot. Coffee and tarot is basically we sit down, have a conversation with spirit. I used to do coffee and tarot like not every day, but like 5 times a week. It was always morning, like you'd sit down, morning where I'm at. Let's put it that way. You can sit at any point and listen to this, blah 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 blah. Right? I think we're gonna try to get back into the swing of that. It gives free reign. I like giving spirit free reign. I don't do zodiacs. There's times where I'll do aspects of the self. There's certain ones that are very like I come into it with an intention, but I love it when we just free reign for spirit. So coffee and tarot is where we sit down, have a conversation with spirit. Spirit's in charge, right? We don't come in with any kind of preconceived notions, questions, time frames, anything like that. And so basically, spirit can discuss whatever they want. We're at the mercy of spirit then. Understand? All right. It can go all kinds of places. So we just, we never know. That's what we're going to be doing today. Friendly reminder for anybody who's going to stick around. You're a sovereign being of your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. My recommendation is to never Cinderella shit too big a fit. Okay. Fantastic. All right. There was a little something before I got on, and they made me whip out my phone to listen to it, like to stream it. It's a song I'm familiar with, an artist I absolutely love. The artist is LP and Baseballs. And the song is Wild Wild West, which it basically goes, girls go wild on the West Coast. So come on, baby, let's go. Blah, 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 blah. So girls go wild on the West Coast. Come on, baby, let's go. So it's such a good, like, it's a fun song. Okay. So, uh, and when I think West Coast, I am definitely thinking, well, I mean, there's only one West Coast, California primarily, right? Also, there's Washington and Oregon. That's West Coast also, but that's more like Pacific Northwest. So West Coast is really like it's California. Okay. So I don't know. California might be pertinent to somebody. I know California has been pinging for me for like probably the last year, maybe slightly longer, but like it's been pinging and I'm like, okay. It could just be as simple as like there's an activation waiting to happen. Like there's something at that location for you that's going to do something for you. Maybe it's just a vibe because I think like Katy Perry has a song, West Coast Girls or something like that. So it's all along that line. So um definitely gives the energy of having fun and like letting something awaken within you. Uh, Something about where, like a particular place awakening something within you, and you being able to be an aspect or a part of yourself that you haven't been able to. That there's something it frees you to be a part of you that you aren't expressing right now, kind of thing. Anyways, so let's just go ahead and they bring me back to the title, The Wild Wild West, right? It's the hold on. I just had it too. LP. Oh, the song title is Girls Go Wild, but it's at the Wild Wild West. So hold on, let's see the lyrics. I'm gonna kind of get. No, I don't want to listen. I want the lyrics. Um, Seems pertinent. And we've had readings about needing to have fun, being in the moment, um, celebrating bits and pieces of life despite what's happening and what's going on. Okay, lyrics. Thank you. I've been caged, I've been hounded, I've been hunted and tamed. Or say, there we go. I needed to read the lyrics. I've been caged, I've been hounded, I've been hunted and tamed. I'm the outlaw of outside and ready to rage. I'm in search of a heart I can eat to renew me. Yeah, I'm dazzled by all the things that undo me. Girls go wild on the West Coast. Come on, baby, let's go. Sunshine brighter than blind love. It's all in the name of the wild, wild West. Okay, here it is. Take my love, take my soul. You just take what you can. When we when we do the deed, I can't say. Oh, I can when we. It sounds. Why does it sound vulgar when I'm reading the lyrics? But like when I say it, when I'm talking. Okay, hold on. You're the one that I want, so I won't make a sound. Come on, baby, let's go. That's what she said. Sunshine brighter than bright love. I really love you. You know I really do. Whatever happens, I hope you're happy too. I really love you. So what you want to do? I feel like but I'm skipping shit because it's like the chorus and everything, and like I'm not gonna read you the fucking chorus. But there's something about that very first one. I've been caged, I've been hounded, I've been hunted and tamed. I'm the outlaw of outside and ready to rage. I'm in search of a heart I can eat to renew me. So somebody's on the prowl. Somebody's ready to just. I love it. Woo! I feel this one. I don't know if we're gonna start. I think we are gonna start with that one. Let's do this. So go look up the song. Girls Go Wild at the Wild Wild West, kind of thing. And it's by LP. That's the artist. There's another one that's a really good song, Into the Wild, which, like, LP, the vast majority of their songs are amazeballs. So, but let's do this. Hello. Let's figure out what they want to talk about. There's something they're giving me the part, girls go wild on the West Coast. Come on, baby, let's go. So again, there may be a call to travel. We'll see. Beginning a new cycle. First light, like the dawn. We have several eggs in this nest. It's giving multiple new beginnings at once. Several things starting or ooh, that jumped out my hand. I don't think that's at all. Okay. Begin now. So it's time to take your first step. So it's about making a move. The new cycle is beginning, and several new things are going to actually start for you. You have to take the first step, though. So there's something that you need to do. I'm going to say you, as in I'm whoever is listening, I'm reading for. Do with the energy, and again, you're the sovereign being. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why. Right? I'm not here to tell you that. It's just how I read. Voyage of the heart. Yeah. Voyage of the heart. One more. I'm smelling, in the fall, which this can happen anytime, but like a bonfire, the way it smokes, I'm smelling that right now. Fellow travelers, I'm telling you, there's something where it's like you need to go into new spaces. You need to go into new spaces. There's something there for you. Fellow travelers. It's about meeting people and reaching your destination. Okay. So I feel as if it's kind of like whatever you're being called to do something. it excites you, it ignites you, it gets your heart really kind of like in it. Um, they're giving me the Ace of Wands type of energy. I feel a little bit of a spark for it. I feel um, charged up and energized by it. So there's something that's calling to you. It is a new cycle that's beginning, but it's almost as if you have to take the first step and then things fall in line. We need to find out what that first step is because sometimes it's kind of like it can be as simple as just deciding, or it can be um, something very tangible within your reality that you've got to do. Again, you're going to be meeting people and receiving help and support. Okay, so fellow travelers, it's like support is all around you. There's people that you're going to come in contact with that you're going to meet, but this is also about you're going to have support along the way. So you may be waiting for like spirit or the universe to kind of like do something to ignite a particular path, and they're like, you need to start it, and then everything that you're going to need will just fall in place. Okay, and then reaching your destination, you will reach your destination. There's something about getting there or going there or doing this thing that, again, remember I said, I feel like you're getting ignited and like passionate about something and you're kind of lit up and it does something for your life. So you might be somewhere or in a situation where you're being dimmed. Like you don't feel alive. You don't feel electrified. You don't feel connected to your life, to this existence. And so you're really dimmed. So there's this thing where it's either a situation, um, a place, yeah, either a situation or a place, like you need to change something and do something different. So let's pull some cards and find out, because there's something about once you do this and that light within is ignited and you're kind of like, you're on, like you're turned on. That's when things can happen. So let's find out. I feel like a lot can happen then. Again, you're just dimmed down. And I heard not seen. I don't know who that's for. Good morning. Um like right now, I want to say right now is a really good time for you to start. Like they're like, again, take the first step. That's what we're going to focus on. What's the first step? Again, you feel like something else needs to happen for you to be able to do something, and they're like, "No, no, no, you do something, and then." So it's almost like you're looking for the means to be able to do something, and they're like, "If you do something, the means, the way, the resources, the support will come in." But why do you feel like you even need help with the first step towards something? That's what we wanna know. Okay, we're gonna use Archangel Tarot. Like, I have not changed anything about the way the screen records me. This is just it's blue today. I don't know why, and it's sunny outside. I'm like, why am I so blue? It's such a blue hue. I don't know. Alrighty. I mean, they're just playing that song over and over in my head. All right, Spirit, we're confused. Why? Okay, hold on. See, it says you are ready and you have all the resources that you need to start something. But you feel like you're not ready. You're like, I can't do anything about this. I get that energy of I can't do anything. You think you can't do anything. They're like, yes, you can. So this is where we need to bridge the gap. So somebody is thinking, and that's why I think there's confusion. You're like, what you think is the first step is not necessarily the first step. You may be thinking too big. Let's get back to the idea of decide. They're bringing me to something. Me and my okay, so I always talk about my cousin. We talk all the freaking time. We're both woo woo, so it's really great. We both started discussing how we're like, telling the universe what we need, what we need, what we need, and talking to our spirit team, and like, well, how's this, and we get kind of like flustered with the situation, right? And then it was like, for her, it was like, hey, instead of focusing on all the lack, just tell us what specifically, like, focus on what specifically you want to happen, right? Which really came down to the whole decide, which has been a theme over the last month and a half, like or maybe 2 months. You just need to decide. Like, there's no him and haw, there's no, "Is that right? Is this not," is you're like, this," and you just decide. Like, it's a very calm, very matter of fact, very, um, in alignment energy, right? And so, you may not be, again, this is putting you in the driver's seat. You may not be laying out the plan, or laying out, or just stating something, like deciding. You're probably like constantly deferring to uh, your higher self to chime in, your spirit team. Spirit's going to show you a synchronicity. And it's like, and then you question, is that really the synchronicity? Should I really do this? But what about this? Like, you are not just flat out deciding, you're trying to hand it over to spirit. And spirit's like, you're in the driver's seat, we're the co pilot. You tell me what you need and I'll make sure you have it. It's kind of like they're showing me the image of somebody driving, right? And you have food in the car and you can't exactly do, and it's like the passenger's like, "Hey, what do you need? You want me to open up your sandwich for you?" And they like set it up for you and they give it to you and you're like, so that you can keep, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like they'll take care of all the stuff that you can't because you're in the driver's seat, right? But you have to decide. Like, you know what? I want to stop in about 50 miles. Tell me where that's at. And then like they tell you, kind of thing. There's just a decision to be made. That, I think, is what the first step is. And so you get to decide what the first step is. And so it's about you really assessing your situation and going, but make sure it's in alignment with where you want to go. Again, this is a voyage of the heart. There's some type of thing that's calling you, that you're feeling pulled to, that you desire, and it does end up in a particular destination. Now, the idea for spirit is the destination is that your light is lit again and that you're ignited and you're back online. But for you, part of what does that is a particular situation or location. Okay. And so, what would need to be done in order to achieve that? Now, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. As a social worker, we have to take a licensing exam in order to practice within whatever state that we're in. There are social workers that will fail. And Kentucky is known to have one of the hardest licensing exams for a social worker. Um, how do I put this? The reason I bring this up is because a lot of people will get into, there's a difference between the textbook version of something. When you're in school, you learn that in this kind of situation, these are the steps that you go through. But then when you get out into the field and you start in like going and doing these things, you realize there's way more steps and more intricacy and more context to each individual situation. And so there's a lot of variabilities of how you approach something. There's the bare bones outline of what you would do to address a situation. But what you think you should do and what you actually do in practice is something completely different, right? It'll look very different. But when you're taking the exam, okay, people will want to answer like, well, here's this scenario. What would you do next? And it's kind of, well, I need to know this, this, and this. So I would ask about that. Wrong. What is the textbook version? What is the bare bones outline? So sometimes you might go a little too detailed, like, well, I would need this, this, and this, and so I need this. And it's like, focus on the bare bones that you need and call that out. Okay? Because that's how you pass the exam. That's how you get where you want to go. That's how you get into the field to practice. And so if you're wanting to accomplish something, I feel like they're kind of giving this analogy. If you want to accomplish something, um, because your brain is the one that wants to go, oh, but all these other variables and oh, this is important. And it's like your brain thinks that those things are important, but those are, again, they are variables. They're not important in every scenario, in every situation. You know what is important in every scenario situation? The structure you learned when you were in school. There are certain things that no matter what, you will need to accomplish this. And then there's little bitty other aspects that could change depending on the day, the time of day, how long it takes you to initiate. Those things can change day in and day out. There are specifics that you fucking need no matter what. Okay? No matter all the tiny little variables, these will stay the same. That's what you need to focus on. Because that's what they want to know, that you will know. It's kind of like you're in a science lab, right? And you're dealing with chemicals, and there's all kinds of variabilities of depending on what chemicals you're dealing with, right? As to what things you'll need to do the project you're doing. However, there's always a few things that are always, always, always needed no matter what. The glasses to protect your eyes, the apron to protect your body, the gloves to protect your hands. In any scenario, you're always dealing with those things. That's what you have to focus on. Your brain constantly wants to go to all these other little fleeting things. And it's like, those are not, I don't want to say they're not necessities because, depending on whatever day this ends up happening or you end up doing this, sure, that day you might need X, Y, and Z also in addition to this. But nothing's going to happen and nothing's going to move forward if these mainstay basics are not taken care of, right? Think of a house. There's all kinds of additions and little things that you can do to improve something, and there's all kinds of variabilities. But what's always the same? A solid fucking foundation and a frame. You're going to need that. Okay? So that's what you have to focus on. So pull yourself. It's kind of like you got to make a decision and be detailed, but don't get lost in the fucking sauce. All right? And so the first thing is decide. You fucking know what you need. The other day, and so an example that she and I were talking about, I was like, you know what? I love it when I can ask my spiritual team or universe or whatever for something, and it just happens. And it happens quickly. That's because I decided. So my son's gonna have to have surgery. He has, he runs, he does things like that. He's in activities, and I'm like, they told me, well, we didn't think he was gonna have to have surgery, and now he has to have surgery. It's nothing big. He's got to get his wisdom teeth out, but he has a tooth growing in his jaw. Like it's not just like underneath his teeth; it's so deep in his jaw, it's almost to the tip of his chin. And so they've got to like they were like, we can't just. We thought we were gonna be able to pull it out with just the wisdom teeth, like an in-office visit. No, we got to fully put him under and be in a surgical setting because they're gonna have to cut and pull things out. I was like, oh great. Well, they're like talking April and stuff. That's middle of track season. I was like, he cannot like be out for a week or longer. I know wisdom teeth don't take long, but that takes a little bit. That takes a little bit. And I was just thinking, oh man. And then I was like, I have certain types of insurance, and I knew that I was like, is our insurance going to change? I don't really know. They were trying to schedule the surgery, right? And I'm like, so I finally just I was like, you know what? I need everything to stay the same so that we can get this surgery. Like no changes to the insurance. I got a notification the other day. Everything's the same. Nothing's changing. It's all good. I was like, oh, yes. I also was like, God, it has to be sooner rather than later. We can't wait until then because he's in season. Turn around, February 11th, he has his surgery. I was like, what? When they told me it would be April. Like, it's one of those things where it's like things just worked out, but I was very specific. I was very sure. I was matter of fact, and I knew beyond a shadow of doubt. There wasn't a part of me that was questioning it. I didn't need to sit there and go, oh, I don't know. Maybe should I did. No, this has to happen and this has to happen, period. And then poof, without me doing a fucking thing, it did. And when I tell you, I thought we were going to have to just lose one of our insurances altogether. Now, in the United States, we have to have medical insurance. So I know some people who are outside of the country don't understand, but it's a big ass thing here. And this surgery, especially because it's going to be in a surgical ward, I'm like, shoot. I mean, that's a lot of money. Okay. I was like, we don't have a lot of money. We need both insurances. And so I really was just like, they were about to do his surgery for January 27th, but I had to check on the insurance first. Everything just poof without me doing anything. I just said I needed it. This needs to happen. And poof, it happened. Same thing with her. She was like, you know what? This is what I need. Boom, boom, boom. There was no questions about it. When you have all those tiny little variables where it's like, well, I might need, or this could happen, or this could potentially happen. It's like, okay, stop that. Because if you're sitting here and throwing a million different things out, one, you might not need any of that when this comes around. You don't know. What do you absolutely, in order for this to happen, happen, must occur, and give those specifics. So those are the things that you need to decide on. Okay. Those are the things that you need to go, okay, this absolutely, this absolutely, this absolutely. And then wait to see how they happen. Wait to watch. So the first step is in this co-creation is you sitting in the fucking driver's seat. Okay. And when they're saying you're ready, you have everything you need because you know what you need. Sit down and fucking write it down. You don't have to come up with a timeline. I didn't tell them it has to be by this date. I just like, we are not waiting until April. It needs to be sooner rather than later. His season starts at the very beginning of March. Like, he needs to be done and over with by then. And when I tell you, I said those things, and within a week and a half, both things are taken care of. Okay. No, it's not. It's the ambiance, y'all. It's not cloudy at all. I'm like, but my blue eyes are popping with the blue hue, the whatever it is. I have the window wet. It is winter, so like the sun shines towards the window differently. But y'all have seen it. There's other days where I'm like, it's actually really nice outside. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Okay. And think about, because with first light, we've got a beginning a new cycle. It's like, what do you need immediately to start this? You know what I'm saying? Let's pull a couple more on the take your first steps. So you really need to decide. There are certain absolutes. Yes, and then you need to let it come to you. You need to let it happen. You stand firm and believe that it will. This waffling and wafting back and forth and pacing and worrying, you know what that does? It causes you to go, what about, and you'll change what you need. And so you're in and out. You have to decide. You have to be solid about, again, you can have a lot of unknowns, and still there are some things that are absolutes, period. Right? You want to go on a vacation. Okay, well, all my bills must be covered in advance, and I need this amount of money to travel. And I have to be able to purchase the tickets by this date. I must have these days off from work. I must like you have, like, there's just absolutes, right? Now, there could be some variability with say the amount, but because of depending on what you want to do there, you still don't have to get so specific. Okay. Yeah, it says look at things from a different perspective. This talks about plans that need to be revised. Again, I think that you have focused on the wrong details, and that you keep obsessing and picking apart certain things. All you have to do is Because again, all those things can change in any given moment. So that's a part of the adventure. The last minute tidbits that fall into place, and it gives you enough space and room to kind of like, really tailor things in the moment. And you know so it's like you have to have some level of there are the bones of what this is, like a move or travel or a situation where you're like, I know that I need to do X, Y, and Z. There are the absolutes in it. And then there's the malleability to go with the flow in the moment for all those tiny little variables. That's why Spirit's like, don't focus on those. And so I want to challenge you that you may be thinking, no, 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 I'm only focusing on the absolutes. No, you're not. If this message is coming out, there are things where it's like that's unnecessarily like you're focusing on the wrong things. You have to be willing to be malleable in the moments. Like if you ask for every little tiny detail, you are not malleable. You're not in the flow, right? So stick to the bare bones absolutes, because the Seven of Swords can talk about plans needing to be revised. This is something where you have to, in order to make sure it happens, you've got to be flexible enough that Spirit can make adjustments to how things unfold as is necessary in the moment. If you were the only person in existence that mattered and the only timeline that Spirit was working on, then fine, you could plan it out to the T, but you're not. You exist with every other energy in this dimension, and Spirit is working with everybody. That creates an immense amount of variables. That's the reason why I don't believe the whole like it's all set in, like everything is set in stone, because we do have some element of free will. And this is right. I also tell people, I'm like, no, chance is a thing. I hate it when I don't hate it. I'm just like, I strongly, there's no coincidence. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Otherwise, you're saying there's absolutely no free will. Everything is predestined down to when you take a shit. The divine exists in the chaos, not the order. Just FYI. Okay? Nine of Cups. So they're asking you to, I think this is where you're at. You're like, what do you've been questioning how to get something started. And you've looked at taking the first step as something that it's not. You think it's some kind of tangible action, and it's really just deciding. But then when you try to decide, you get lost in the sauce with all these little things, you know what I mean? And it's like, that's not what's, no, give Spirit the bare bones absolutes, okay? And being flexible in the moment, that's the spice to the adventure, right? That's what gives it flavor. That's what makes it an experience. So all you have to do is be willing to, you know what I'm saying? Be flexible so that things can kind of like change here and there as is necessary. You'll get what you want then. You'll get your wish. I think you've tried to overcomplicate it. Okay? Um support is all around you. Let's find that. Son of a biscuit eater. Four of Cups. This idea, I feel like you think that if you don't open your eyes to the possibility of what could happen, then you're going to miss an opportunity. You think everything should be taken care of right here, right now, and everything accounted for, and that the help should show up ahead of time. And it's like what you need will show up as you're traveling along the path, as you're enacting and moving towards this thing. Okay. Um, So you're closing yourself off actually to help support in opportunities when you believe it all must show up ahead of time before you even make a decision. Everything should be in place. And it's like, okay. Then we have, yeah, it's being open to the possibilities, being open to the opportunities so that you don't miss it, and being willing to take a leap of faith. See, when everything is not, when you don't have everything before you even decide, because I think that's what you're trying to do. You want everything, the environment, the circumstances, your situation, where you're at, all kinds, you want it all perfectly there before you even decide, before you make any decisions. You want the resources, the help, the support there so then you can make your decisions. And that's not how this is going to go. So if you feel like shit's at a standstill and why won't it move forward? It's because of that. It's because of that. It's not saying that before things begin to actually change, that you won't have certain things arrive, but things will arrive when they are necessary. And you have to be willing to ask for what you need in the moment, on the fly, on the go. Again, because everything is not so precisely planned out perfectly, because chaos exists, because chaos is where divinity and life in and of itself is birthed out of the dark. And so it's kind of like they want me to remind you that when you create boxes, you're creating your own limitations. The boxes are nice and neat, but it limits you, right? It makes things easy for the brain to understand this equals this and this da da da. But there's again so many variables in life. You've got to get out of that's the changing the perspective. You've got to get out of that, right? Um, it's kind of like when you go bowling. It's nice to have the bumper guards, but that ball's still gonna go all over the place. Spirit can keep you from going in the gutter. Spirit can, all that kind of stuff. But there's like spirit can't take over and make sure that that ball goes in such a perfect straight line. Da, da, da. Like that's what you're expecting, and that's not the human experience. Okay. All right. Um. Again, if you're willing to see or open your eyes to the possibilities, you won't miss any of the opportunities that come around. But this talk about taking the leap of faith, and in doing so, again saying, "Okay, spirit, this is what I need." This, da, 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 making decisions, and acting as if it's going to happen, like moving as if, and then just requesting what it is that you need, deciding unexpected opportunities will arise. You don't have to have it ahead of time. It's like a checklist you want. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's like, the idea of like, I'll know what clothing to get. I need to know how much I can spend before I even go shopping. And I guess in some situations, that can be a positive thing. But when you're talking about something like this, that's not how it works. Did you know that sometimes when we have a set amount that we can spend, we actually end up overspending, and not like we're so focused on the end goal of I've got this much, and that we end up missing Let me just tell you, I find that when I don't set out with a I can only spend this much, I tend to spend a lot less. There's something about when I say I can only spend this much, I am damn sure to end up spending that fucking much. And it somehow seems harder to stay within that fucking budget. You ever notice that? You ever experienced that? I don't know what it is, but when I'm not focused on I can only this, like again, that's that preconceived notion of they're like already knowing exactly the amount. Well, now you're going to spend that amount and probably not get nearly as many things. So you have to be willing to just kind of like embark on something and let things arise. And there is a guarantee here that you will get the support that you need. The opportunities will come in. Page of Wands, it's kind of like the promise of a new endeavor because we talk about like when you take the leap of faith, that's when the unexpected opportunities come in. And the leap of faith is just again, it's like I don't need absolutely everything pre-planned and set out on the table before I start something. I know that what I need will come in the moment that I need it. And if there's any absolutes, I decide on what the absolutes are right now. And I'm in the flow with everything else. News of an exciting new endeavor coming in. And then this strength card. Give me just a second. There's something there. Yeah, it's going to take a level of inner strength to let this play out how it needs to. Seven of Pentacles is not always about instant gratification, right? Sometimes I think that's what you want. You want instant like if all the things that you need show up before you ever even decide, there's this sense of satisfaction and a ego boost, a dopamine hit, something that kind of like makes satiates something inside of you where you feel like fulfilled before you've even done something. Like it's a guarantee, right? And there's something about something being a guarantee. You know, when you plant seeds, there's no fucking guarantee. Again, that's a part of taking the leap of faith, but there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of anything. You can do all the preparation, fertilize the ground. You can put it in the right location, out at the right time. You can do it all. Do. And shit will still not germinate. It still will not grow. And then the fucking thing you threw in the compost that you had no intentions of blooms and takes over the whole garden. You're like, are you kidding me? Right? The squash you threw out in the yard because it went bad midwinter starts growing in the middle of the fucking yard. The dandelion pops up from the damn concrete. Are you serious? Right? And so it's kind of like it's giving that. So it's telling you that seeds are well planted, and if everything is not showing ahead of time, it's not a reason to not make decisions and move forward. Okay? I'm getting even I'm getting um if you don't know where you want to move, like you're like what place? Why don't you decide what are the absolutes that you need for whatever location and watch how spirit just puts things in front of you, connects you to people from certain places, pulls things across your feed. You know what I mean? What are the absolutes? You don't have to give like don't go like and I want it to be like this and I want it to be like what are the absolutes of wherever it is that you want to go? Write that out and watch how spirit brings all these places and spaces that would match that in front of you. I know I need to get out of here, but I have no clue where. Well, what are the absolutes? There are all kinds of things that we would love, little tiny details, but they're not musts, right? They're just, that'd be nice. or ooh, that would be exciting. You can go from there. Once they bring options in front of you and you're viewing them, you'll be able to know even better how to make your decision. No, I want this though. And you'll be able to narrow it down. You won't even need spirit once the options and opportunities are brought before you. You can be like, you'll know once you're looking through it, you're gonna be like, this is what I want. And then when you do decide on the location, you start meeting people randomly, or things come across your social media where it's like again, I have no connections to California, but man, shit about San Diego was coming through, and I was like, what? Like on my feed all of a sudden. And I was like, what are you trying to tell me, Spirit? You know what I mean? Like, what is going on here? There's a cardinal outside. One red cardinal. That might be significant for somebody. Spirit is definitely. So my thing is that they're asking, like, that's the first step that you've got to take. And you've got to believe that that's the first step. You've got to believe and pay attention and be open to what comes your way when you start making, like, these are the things that are absolutes. And then from there, you can start making moves. And then you're malleable and you're not, it's not too strict, not too whatever. Okay. But this situation does need to happen. You've just been stuck in, you just really have been waiting, like something's just going to fall in your lap. And it kind of is, but your idea and notion of what something falling in your lap needs to be broadened. Like, you're perceiving something, I don't know, Disney movie fantastical. So, yeah, we're just gonna leave it there. I think I'm gonna do a separate. I'm gonna do one more read. So this is gonna be 2 readings in one because we're at 45 minutes. But I feel like there might be another message. But somebody needed to hear this. Like you're good. You can make this happen. All you got to do is you needed to understand. Somebody just have a conversation with you about what it means to actually have, like, you know what I'm saying. I still they're bringing back to the girls go wild on the West Coast kind of thing. And so I think both of these are going to link into it because I think the last card was that your light is going to come on. So there's even an event situation or travel or location change, something along those that's going to ignite you. There's a change in environment that lights you up, that does something for you, and you are already feeling called to it. So whatever that is you need, and you're sitting there just waiting, like, well, if it's meant to be, then it doesn't work like that. Okay. So that's why Spirit was like, first off, let's take care of this. Now we're going to go into a second read. What time? 48 minutes. I need to timestamp this. All right, Spirit. We're still in the vein of Girls Go Wild, which really is about coming back to life, owning the self, owning your destiny, owning fun. Like it feels like springtime. Okay. All right, we're going to start here. Let's go. Two of Cups. Get my coffee. I should show you all just how bright it is outside in comparison to the way it fucking looks. I'm like, what's going on? Two of Cups. They want, okay. That's not how I do things, but they want the Two of Cups in the center. And I'm like, okie dokes. I need some bigger hands. Starman. Fuck me. Y'all. I need my book. I need my book. They want me to read the Starman. Let me concentrate really quick. Okay. I don't know what they're doing. Give me a hot minute to figure this shit out. So on this side, we have the Starman. Okay, which is like the Magician in other decks, correct? Correct. Then we have the King of Cups and the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords being really caught in your mental realm. This King of Cups, I want to show you something. He is pointing to his crown or his third eye, and you see it lit up. Right? So the Nine of Swords belongs to the King of Cups. Something about the Starman, the Magician being their mind is generally how they manifest. But they said he's all in his emotions. He's also got his solar being ignited. Something's hitting it. So he's seeing, understanding, and knowing something. He has knowledge of something. It's causing him to be up in his head. But something about his sense of confidence or personal power is being impacted in regards to this. But he's definitely in his emotions. I say his because it's a king, whatever. There is no gender here. But over here, we've got on this side, we have an Ace of Swords, which would be the mental clarity, correct? From what's going on over here, mental clarity, understanding. Like a unwavering knowing. It's also communication. But we have the Eight of Cups and Eight of Pentacles. Like, I've got to leave something to go towards something. I've got to leave something to move in a particular direction. I have to walk away from something in order to move towards something. Again, because the Eight of Pentacles is dedication and forward movement towards something specific. And again, very at the center is the Two of Cups. Three of Swords. Confusion about something, uncertainty, the idea of a new beginning, but it's kind of still there as an idea. I feel like, and I think that it's just for in regards what you're saying in regards to the first part, it's like there's a happy medium there. It's like using both aspects of yourself to accomplish something. So at least you're familiar with both. There has to be some detail. And when you're a Virgo, it's going to be when you're in Virgo energy, it's real easy to kind of decipher bare bones what's a necessity, what must actually happen, but the free flowy, you know what I'm saying, uh, on the fly type of energy with traveling, like you're familiar with both. You just got to combine those. That's the idea right now. Three of Swords. A whole lot of nothing being communicated here. A whole lot of there's duality going on. It's a feeling of like something coming together, feeling in alignment and in union with something. So it's like again, there's a coming together and a leaving of something. Coming together and a leaving. Okay, I'm gonna pull a different deck because what's the story behind this story? New era elements. What's the story behind this story? Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm okay. I'm okay. I saw something move, so I cracked a brick really quick. Although, yeah, it's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. Look, I ain't telling you what it is, but it moved. Ain't nothing supposed to be on my lap moving. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. All right. What's the story behind the story? Hold on. Let me shuffle. And behind the King of Cups is someone that is not showing their emotions despite experiencing a deep well of them, but also believes in managing and being like emotionally intelligent. And so not allowing it to consume them or direct how they move. And there's this intelligence of when and where and how to pour their cup, right? There's a high level of discernment. But it might be getting a little bit too much for them, given that they're in the Nine of Swords. Like they really want to move appropriately and not let their emotions dictate or take over. Okay. So we got the King of Swords and the Three of Swords. I feel like somebody's hurting their own feelings. Somebody's really experiencing a sense of grief because of their inability to see something clearly, to make a decision, to come to some kind of conclusion. It's just a swirling of their welling of emotions is only adding to the uncertainty, is only adding to the complexity, to the worries, the fears. Because I feel like their emotions are really, really strong. They tried to wield their emotions versus being controlled by their emotions, right? Um, there's a difficulty here with that. And this sense of having to walk away from something in order to attain something is giving them Again, a sense of grief of some sort. There's a level of sadness with that. They think that they're making something up in their head. They're uncertain because they're not really clear that whether it's real or not. If a potential of something is real or the need to leave something is real, they don't know. And they're trying to strength card, they're trying to I don't know, it's like get their shit together in regards to this. Okay. This is again with both between the King of Swords and the King of Cups. They don't make decisions erratically. They certainly don't let fear, or they try not to let fear or emotion control and dictate them. But there's a lot of both, a lot of emotion and a lot of fear or worry. And it may be where it's kind of like they're trying to get a hold of it because the strength card, you're trying to tame that inner beast that wants to just kind of like, because they really need to make the right decision. They need to see something clearly. Okay. They're probably not used to this. The moon. Yeah. Oh, it's like something beneath the surface is driving this whole thing. They feel like they need more information. There's something that they don't know, they don't understand. But again, there's like, yeah, they don't see everything clearly. They're aware of that. Like they want an answer to something. They want an answer to something. But they're only being shown like this much. Again, is it an illusion? It seems like an impossible decision, an impossible scenario. Like, how am I supposed to 10 of Wands? This is too much. I don't, you know what I mean? Feels very heavy. Emperor with the Fool. I'm certain they prefer to be very in charge, very on top of things. Decisive, taking action. They don't like being in this bubbling over of mind and emotion. Like that's just swirling. And it's all hinges on leaving something, moving away from something, and putting their energy and dedication into something else to move forward. Okay, hold on. Tell me more about why, after all of that, this is what they want to be in. This is what they want. They want to make a decision. They want. Where are they at being the emperor? I think that's what they're used to. Victory. What happens to bring this clarity? Because on the other side of something, they see something very clear. The Ace of Swords. Um, they know what they've got to do. And there is an indication they kind of take back control and they initiate something, right? They know they have to take a leap of faith. Something says that they want the assurance of a victory before they do that. But an emperor doesn't necessarily make decisions because they're guaranteed something. They have conviction and they know that they need to that these are the right decisions and moves. They become decisive and they take leaps of faith. Okay. They definitely need to move into again, they've gotta bring they're attempting to do this and they know that they've gotta do this. They've gotta bring, like, some semblance of peace to the mind and the heart because those 2 are just once they're able to do this, then they can get into a more rooted emperor energy and operate from that. So what are they doing to listening to intuition, instinct, their gut? They're they're just knowing, which would be the solar, just a knowing. They've gotta calm their mind and heart, like, quiet those, get those under and then listen to their intuition and to the guidance. Are they doing that, though? Are they? Tower? Do tell. Son of a biscuit. Mm. I don't know about this here. Again, the mind and the heart are just kinda, like, fighting each other, not on the same page. It's like and it's probably neither one of those because 'cause they're right, like, your thoughts and your emotions can really, cloud everything. You need to follow your inner guidance, your compass. But this is feeling like we have the death with the tower. We know that there's an ending and a beginning that needs to happen here. I feel like the tower is approaching. Tower is like a fated thing that either you can prepare for and act accordingly or like it's unavoidable. An impending tower. There's some kind of foundation. Again, 8 of cups is the idea that this is something that used to you benefit you, used to these cups were full at one point. Um they that they were for you at some point or you assumed they were for you. There was a reason that you you had all these cups, but you leave the 8 of cups to go to your 9 of cups, right? Your true, genuine contentment, personal joy, and wish fulfillment. Star would be the wish. And then we have the Queen of Swords with the 7 of Pentacles, but in this one, it's listed as failure. Something failed to happen. And with the King of Swords, this is like argument, like all I can get is between the Tower and the Death. It's like something is going to implode. Something is going to crumble. And when we have the Queen of Swords, and I'm like, and the Queen of Swords is a match to the King of Swords. I feel the arguments and an argument to end it all. Um, it feels like a connection where um, emotion wasn't the main factor. The sword suit is there's an intellect or a lens, a paradigm that two people shared, um, a style of communication, something very pragmatic, logical, kind of like there was a connection in the mind. Um, but it also feels very volatile. We got the Tower and Death. It feels very volatile at times, like a tongue that is cutting. There's failure around this Queen of Swords. This is also two people guarded at times when they're not communicating appropriately. I just feel what's inevitable will always end up happening. And what's inevitable is something coming to an end. Um, but somebody, this King of Cups is like emotions are all over the place. Their thoughts are all over the place. They can't seem to settle those down enough to really get down to it, where their instinct and their intuition is telling them this already, so that they can follow their inner guidance. Their inner guidance is screaming at them. And it's kind of like the idea of like trying to help them see something and act on something before it ends up being a tower. But again, it's something's inevitable. And whatever this is bound to, it's going to fail. Whoever the Queen of Swords is. There's a connection here between an emperor and a Queen of Swords, and it's bound to fail. But if they leave and take a leap of faith, that's where they'll find their victory. So if they're staying because they're conflicted, it's an inevitable. You're just prolonging the inevitable. I had a reading similar to this. Knight of Wands, it's shit or get off the pot. You need to do this. Like the time for thinking, hemming, hawing, and contemplating. It's like it's act, fucking act. Okay, you need to act on this. This feels like months, like maybe knowing for at least a year, or questioning for at least a year. And then I feel like for like at least 6 to 9 months being on like death's doorstep, always on the edge of something coming to an end. Hanged man. Really prolonging something, really fucking prolonging something. Almost like if you think the longer you wait, dare I say, what I don't understand is this person generally is able to operate from an empress energy, right? Emperor. Um, I don't think that they can't hear their intuition. I think they heard, they understood, but for whatever reason, their mind and their heart are kind of like debating and arguing. Like sometimes you don't want to leave something because you're kind of like, there's no guarantee. Hence the leap of faith. But they've really put something on pause. And it's like, you don't get to stay in the hangman energy. Like they're thinking, if I just wait long enough, something will change. And, but it's not. The inevitable is the inevitable. The inevitable is the inevitable. Ace of Swords. That clarity is going to be the thing that they use because I heard communicate already. Communicate already. The Ace of Swords. You already know. Knight of Pentacles. There's a sense of sincerity with this Knight of Pentacles to the Queen of Wands. I think that we had this back in the summer. It was like the Queen of Swords had a very manipulative, vindictive, uh, uh, very manipulative, like energy. And there was a Queen of Wands, which is what somebody was who or what somebody was being attracted towards. And I feel like I could have sworn in that reading the Queen of like there was a separation pending with the Queen of Swords. This almost feels like that was put on hold. It's like this the emperor is fearful of what they're feeling, which is what's got them in their head. To feel this much and to not have control over your emotions and feeling like they're consuming you, that they must not be real or that this is like some feigned obsession and it's passing. Um, so it's like the inevitable was put on pause, hanged man. This is because they feel like I'm not seeing everything clearly. That's too much. That's too much of a burden. Too much of a burden. Surely something's amiss. There's an illusion here. They just don't think that it's real. But they need to act and they really want to. So it's like lying to themselves. There's a strong urge, Knight of Wands, very strong urge to. But that's where the strength card. I'm trying to tame this inner whatever it is. It feels like I just want to, you know. But the right and true thing is to leave something and move in a direction on a path. Because eight of Pentacles is everything has blossomed, right? Seven of Pentacles, I plant the seeds. I don't know what's going to pop up, what's not. I don't know what's going to actually start to grow and bear fruit or not. And so I can't, I'm not putting any kind of Eight of Pentacles is you see what will and won't bear fruit. You now then can cultivate and put your energy into the things that will grow and will be beneficial, right? You don't go, I planted a seed over here. I'm gonna spend all my time working on the soul over here and trying to tend to it when there's something over here growing that needs trimming and pollinating. You're like, this thing has the potential. This blossomed. This, it's already dead. So it's kind of like that's what the Eight of Pentacles is something's already dead. And normally, King of Cups Emperor doesn't need a guarantee because he's usually in control of his thoughts, emotions. But this is something else. Something he's not ever experienced before and he's not trusting it. Because to him, that would be more along the lines of obsession or some kind of like false whatever. You know what I mean? It's like that's, it's not rooted in logic, enough logic for him or reality. So explain to me, there's like a communication that needs to happen. Sincere, genuine communication to a Queen of Wands. Ace of Swords is also like the initiation of a path that's clear to you. Tell me about the Knight of Pentacles. It's taking action. Two of Wands. Taking action, but why did you choose the Knight of Pentacles? Because moving towards the Queen of Wands is the sincere, genuine, true, like the thing that this person wants to do. But there's someone stuck. In an existing foundation that they built. They're giving me some people say, the grass is greener where you water it. And again, there's been trying to decide where to pour their energy, emotions, and investment. That's not true. I'm just gonna tell you. The analogy of the Seven of Pentacles where you can no there's no amount of tilling the ground, watering it, putting it in the right location. Some shit just won't grow. Someone feels like what they're feeling is a potential, is a possibility for them. And they may not even have a particular Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is like the ideal of what they want and desire, right? There's something that they feel pulled to seek out. They're feeling that pull. A person that they're feeling pulled to seek out, even though they don't know who it is, or but it's kind of like that's just a fantasy. That's a fairy tale. That's a Disney movie, right? Again, it doesn't feel rooted in reality. And if you don't think something's a potentiality, you may feel like, well, this is all there is, and I've already put enough energy and investment into something. They're thinking, I'll just keep watering it. I'll try to water it. And they have been. That's where the pause came in, and it's not working. It's not. Okay. It's like being beholden to some kind of illusion, some lie. Like they there's a part of them that believes there's a person out there that's perfectly aligned for them, that's a match to their ideal partner, but they're also simultaneously going like their logical side, the King of Swords is like, "Oh, that's an illusion, that's a lie, that's a fairy tale, it's not real." So that feels like being beholden, like believing that that's bullshit, this idea of this type of a union, okay? Like, I just won't be able to get that. Like, I think that, and then I'll try to pursue it, and it won't be real. I'll just find more of the same. I'll feel the same way I do now. So why even leave? Blah, 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 blah. And they were on the verge of leaving before. This tower has been hovering, but the end of this is inevitable. So this is somebody, when people are kind of like they're in and out, in and out, in and out of a commitment, and like they're on the brink of leaving. Like I said, they've been on the edge of death for a long time with this, standing at death's door. They just haven't crossed through the threshold. I feel like they were close to this for a period of time. And so much fear that what I think I could find moving forward isn't real. And then they got scared. And then logic was like taking over, like, emotions, you need to shut up and sit down because you're gonna end up causing us all kinds of bullshit in our life. We've cultivated this for so long. Like, why would we just blah blah blah? But there's no real connection. It's more of like a facade of what they've built versus a home. But for some people, that's enough, because the fear of not having anything is worse than not having the right thing. You know what I mean? But the emotions, what they know because they're third eye, and what they feel is entirely too loud. It most certainly doesn't leave them, and it hurts them. That's why we have the Three of Swords. That is equally hurting them. I don't know if they're so much in pain about realizing where they're at isn't what they wanted. It's the pain of how loud it feels. Because when the Queen of Wands, her beacon, like when you pick up on somebody's signal, it like they emanate their power, their magic, their energy from your solar. You absorb the energy around you in your solar and you extend it out. And so it's kind of like he's picking up on something. He's picking up on it. And if that shit just wasn't so fucking loud, he could but that's where the pain is it won't fucking go away. We need to get to the point of why we're bringing this up because I don't know if there's a masculine watching that needs to hear this. We're going way more in depth because I did something, I don't even know if I posted it. I think I did on Sunday or Monday. I did like a live and then I posted something later and it was like telling the masculine, you just need to fucking do this because it's like we're going way further in depth into this. And let's get real. Masculines in our society, in this world, are not cultivated, programmed, or groomed to connect and believe in their instinct, intuition, um, and this kind of connection. Masculines are taught that if you check everything off of this checklist, then you've achieved exactly. And that checklist matters more because if you do all this, then you've made it. You're the man that you should be. You can rest easy in this. And so it feels exceptionally unnerving when you decide to put that checklist down because whatever they have marked all of that. And yet they still felt a void. It like only satiated long enough because really when you meet the checklist, you're satiating the ego that says, I've got to at least do this. Okay, I've made it. So why is there still something missing? Why do you still feel called and drawn to something more? Why is it like, why isn't it enough? And to be judged when you don't meet these quote unquote standards, these external factors that anybody and everybody else says you should be happy with. This means you've made it. You're the person like you have the pinnacle of whatever it is. And so they're at that point and they're like, this is not enough. And they don't know how to turn that off. And this is where masculines are taught to detach from their emotions, their wants, their desires. To not listen and tap in to their connectedness with everything around them. I'm seeing a masculine that spends time in nature, and it's almost as if that's what did them in. It's easy to tap in to the shared energetic flow of the universe when you're in nature, when you're out in the ocean, like salt water, like all of those things kind of drown out or somehow surpass all of our programming and get and connect into our core. It's like it helps us to connect to something more, something different. So this mask, I feel like that's where they went wrong. Wrong. As long as they were in the hubbub of something, but now they are it's like they're connected to the universal flow because of something in their environment. They made a change at some point in their life and now over time it became more and more glaringly that that checklist fucking didn't mean anything. But there's a part of them that's like, but I did it and I don't want to just throw it away. Like, look at this, look what I achieved. But it's all for naught. Like I had somebody ask about like going to get their doctorate, and I'm like, to what end? For what reason? Like whether or not they should. And I'm like, does it actually give you permission or the ability to do more of what you want to do, to have the influence you want to have? Because you get so very niched and specific when you go after a PhD, unless you're looking to stay specifically with whatever it is that you've niched down to, what is the point? Is what you want to accomplish something you can do without it? Is it like, but we're all programmed and taught like we got to keep going to the pinnacle of achievement until you find out that you didn't need that at all to do what you wanted to do and have the impact you wanted to have. I mean, sure, go for your PhD if you just want to say that you have it. But for what? To prove something to yourself? And why do you gotta prove something to yourself? To prove something to somebody else? Like there needs to be a real reason and benefit to it. But it's like they were on automatic pilot, like that's supposed to be the next step. That's what I'm supposed to do. Is it though? Is it? Funny enough, we were talking in the first reading about how someone's location was a thing that dampened them, that held them back, that suffocated their light. And the thing is that for this masculine, their location is exactly the reason why their light won't shut off. It has come online and it shines so bright within them that they cannot fucking ignore it. It's loud. And it's like their soul feels it, wants it, desires it, and their emotions are like, yes. And their mind is like, no. That checklist is not. Question to this masculine is, so you've achieved a checklist. Did it give you what you thought it would? Because if you're still feeling a craving and a yearning for something outside of that, that is in and of itself your answer. As with the Eight of Cups, it's okay to desire and want something more, something different. It used to be something that served you. It used to be something you wanted and desired. It no longer is. It is perfectly permissible and okay to listen to your inner voice, to your intuition, to your instinct when you feel called in another direction. Whatever this thing is that you hear, it's not going to stop. It's only going to get louder. And unfortunately for you, wherever you're at, and it's not even like, I don't even feel like it's because they're still around the Queen of Swords, although that can play a factor. It's like they are in a location that will not let them, they're so tapped in. They're connected to something. You won't be able to drown it out. You won't be able to detach from the knowing. The end is an inevitable. It most certainly is just a matter of time. And remember, when something is inevitable, we can choose how we approach and interact and deal with it and react as a result, right? A tower is positive or negative based upon how we choose to respond. You have a chance to be proactive. And again, you've been standing at the threshold of death's door long enough. And I feel like whatever happiness there is, it within their circumstance is only based upon not because it's something that they're connected to and they feel um it's because they're surrounded by everything that they have achieved through their checklist. And they have to use the checklist to constantly bring them back to, no, no, this is good. That's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna fail. There's an ace of swords on the bottom of this. That's 3 ace of swords. You are not going to, that's what it is. You are not going to be able to ignore the truth. It will continue to get louder and louder and louder until it's glaringly evident. You'll be left with no confusion. And it's a weird dynamic because of all the things that they've achieved on this checklist. They feel like because they follow their inner pull and guide, that they have somehow failed. They don't like feeling like a failure. And again, hanged man, that might be where the perspective needs to change. They were saying earlier it's not all for naught, which is kind of like saying everything that you've gone through, worked towards and done and accomplished is not all for naught. Every bit of it has cultivated the emperor. You are the emperor because of what you've moved through and what you've allowed it to teach you. That's not failure. They may feel like they're failing somebody else, but this has been done. Right now, the only person you're failing is yourself. Six of Cups. They're saying marriage of convenience. Like there's this soul connections, and then there's the marriage of convenience, meaning like the duo or dynamic serves a common goal for the two of them and makes something easier. But again, when what holds two people together exists outside of them, again, it's inevitable. The end is inevitable. There must be a thread. Again, love is not enough, but neither are external factors that give you reason to stick with somebody. This is what is pulling on them. This is like a soul level connection. That's why it feels like something's missing, because it is. You have to move in a manner that serves you, that's honoring yourself. Seven of Wands. Funny how you can have that and not any of society's checklist that says, okay, you know what I mean? And feel as if you've got the whole world in your fucking hands, that you've accomplished everything you've ever wanted. So, I feel like spirit is encouraging somebody to really see things for what they are. And definitely explained it in a very pragmatic, realistic way that I think the masculine needed to hear. Because it's in that their mind shuts up. Because if somebody were to speak to them from an emotional or spiritual approach, the mind would not listen. It would keep, but because it's like there's this whole conversation was meeting the mind where it was at, his mind. And it's in that quieting of the mind, temperance can be found. Lord have mercy. There is the Judgment, but that was like probably 20 cards, and I'm not doing that. Okay, we're gonna hold on. I mean, any last thoughts, and then we will hop off. 45 minutes. You need to do the right thing, justice. You need to acknowledge the truth, and you need to bring things back into a balance because things are out of balance. You need to do the right thing. Tower. Either you bring it down or Spirit will. Seven of Pentacles. Success unfulfilled. Do the right thing. Acknowledge what no longer serves you, what no longer has purpose in your life, what no longer should be there. Okay? Be honest and truthful with yourself. Something's done and over with. Then and only then can the sun shine on you. And I just feel you'll feel clear. No more cloudiness. You'll feel clear about what to do. This is the right thing to do. The Sun card is also a victory card. This is the happiest card in the deck for it to come after they tell you to do the right thing and bring something to a close. FYI, you're also holding back the other person in this situation from them finding their true happiness and what they're meant for. You are holding them back from their path. It's also unfair to them. But your happiness comes after you do the right thing. Death. All right. Well, that is the message. All righty. Well, those are the readings for today. I am going to pack it up. I hope these messages find who they're meant for. Sorry, sometimes they still keep talking to me. I hope they find who they are meant for. And I will see you guys at the next read. Lord have mercy. You think they'd give me a break? Thank you for joining.